for practitioners and enablers of the benchmarks for transformational partnerships and women's economic empowerment in agricultural value chains. We shall be featuring the stories and experiences of our partner enterprises from Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. This event is co-organized by our country partners, Bina Swadaya Foundation, Dompet Duafa Philanthropy, and the Center for Social Initiatives Promotion, and is supported by Oxfam and the Embassy of Sweden in Bangkok under a regional program called Gender Transformative and Responsive Agricultural Investments in Southeast Asia, or GRACE. My name is Seth, and we are live today from Manila, Philippines. This afternoon, we will hear about the experiences of 5 social enterprises and small and medium enterprises in piloting the benchmarks for transformational partnerships and women's economic empowerment in agricultural value chains, or what we call the BTP WEE in AVCs scorecard. This scorecard is a tool for assessing enterprises against a set of aspirational standards on how they and other stakeholders in AVCs could sustainably impact the lives of small-scale producers, especially women, their households, and their communities. Collectively, they form a pathway to sustainability, as these benchmarks are meant to provide guideposts among enterprises and other stakeholders in AVCs who aspire to make a meaningful contribution to the achievement of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. The scorecard was developed under the GRACE program, which is being implemented by the Institute of Social Enterprises in Asia, or ISEA, with support from Oxfam and the Embassy of Sweden in Bangkok. We Train in AVCs, or Women's Economic Empowerment Transformational Initiatives in Agricultural Value Chains, is a component of the GRACE program. We Train in AVCs shall engage and support its partner social enterprises, SMEs, and corporate agribusinesses, and other key actors in strengthening the pursuit of a transformational WEE agenda among private sector players and governments in ASEAN and beyond. It is a 5-year regional program that shall be utilizing the benchmarks resulting from GRACE 1 as a starting framework. ISEA works with its members and partners in building champions among SMEs, SEs, and corporate agribusinesses on BTP WEE and AVCs, and in developing and promoting the ASEAN guidelines on transformational partnerships and WEE. In 2021, ISEA and its country partners in Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam engaged 6 social enterprises and small and medium enterprises to pilot the scorecard and other tools towards mainstreaming the BTP WEE and AVCs among stakeholders. I will be introducing them more formally later on, but for now, allow me to mention the 5 enterprises that we will be meeting today. From Indonesia, we have Toko Trubus Mitra Swadaya and Karya Masyarakat Mandiri. From the Philippines, please welcome the Good Food Community. And we are also happy to have our partner enterprises from Vietnam, the Vien Minh Company and Shafako Sapa, join us today. We will be interacting with them through a panel discussion, which will allow us to learn about their actual experiences in using the BTP WEE in AVC scorecard and other tools, call lessons from these experiences, and define enhancements that can be incorporated in the tools. This afternoon, we are also joined by Bina Swadaya Foundation, Bina Swadaya Consultant, Dompet Duafa, Center for Social Initiatives Promotion, Investing in Women, Smart Economics, Foundation for Sustainable Society, or FSSI, Oxfam in the Philippines, Oxfam GRACE Project Management Unit, the Federation of People's Sustainable Development Cooperative, Philippine Business for Social Progress, Bote Central, Center for Research, Training, and Consultancy on Local Development, Rural Reconstruction Nepal, Udyama, and the Philippine Women's Economic Network. We truly appreciate your support and participation this afternoon. Before we begin the panel, let us be welcomed by the President of ISEA, Lisa Dakanay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Seth.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you.
Hi. Yes, I'm on behalf of the Institute for Social Entrepreneurship in Asia. I welcome everyone to this event, which we have entitled a mouthful, no? BTP WEE in AVCs Learning Exchange among Practitioners and Enablers, reflections from piloting the experiences of social enterprises and SMEs in Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. This event is being organized as an initiative of the We Live Food platform. No? The We Live Food platform, or Women's Empowerment, Livelihoods, and Food in Agricultural Value Chains, was set up during a conference that we co-convened with the UNSCAP in 2020. And it's one of 5 platforms that we set up then for inclusive recovery, building back fairer towards accelerating the Sustainable Development Goals. It's co-convened by Binaswadaya, Center for Social Initiatives Promotion in Vietnam, and of course ISEA, with members from Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, and India to promote the benchmarks for transformational partnerships and women's economic empowerment in agricultural value chains, as well as the set of guidelines that we hope would enable these benchmarks, the practice of these benchmarks. Yeah, the guidelines for transformational partnerships and women's economic empowerment in agricultural value chains that we launched earlier this year. One of the objectives of the We Live Food platform is to serve as a learning exchange platform and building a community of practice around inclusive recovery, and the benchmarks for transformational partnerships are, we hope that these benchmarks can serve to actually change the face of agricultural value chains so that they can become more transformative vehicles for empowering women and men small-scale producers, and we can build back fairer. The We Live Food platform is the most advanced of the 5 platforms that we launched in September 2020, and we have come a long way in our journey of piloting the benchmarks, and we are now sharing the experience of in our journey, the experience and journey of the benchmarks. Those who have, and we are now sharing the experience tools that were developed to encourage social enterprises, small and medium enterprises, and corporate agribusinesses to practice the benchmarks. I am very happy to be part of bringing together the social enterprises and SMEs that have been our partners who decided to pilot the benchmarks at a critical time that was very difficult. No? We commend the SMEs and the social enterprise partners for accepting the challenge to do more and to build back fairer for your respective partner women and men small-scale producers. And as I said, this initiative was launched at a time that you were undergoing difficulties because of COVID-19 and other disasters. And we are happy that you have accepted the challenge of journeying with us to pilot the benchmark scorecard. We are excited to hear your stories and to learn from you as well as we work towards empowering women and men small-scale producers in agricultural value chains. We are actually targeting to reach 11 more social enterprises, small and medium enterprises, and corporate agribusinesses to adopt the benchmarks in the coming year. So for those of you who know of SMEs, social enterprises, and corporate agribusinesses who actually are willing to also pilot or replicate the benchmarks, please do get in touch with us so that we can actually move forward with our replication and piloting in other countries. Let me also now thank our country partners who are here with us and are co-organizing our event today: Binaswadaya Foundation and Dompet Duafa, Philanthropy in Indonesia, and the Center for Social Initiatives Promotion in Vietnam. We also thank Oxfam and the Embassy of Sweden in Bangkok for supporting this initiative. Thank you very much, and we hope we have a fruitful learning session today and tomorrow. Thank you. Back to you, Seth.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I hope today's session will also inspire the replication of other enterprises of the benchmarks. But before we move to our panel presentations, I'd like to ask everyone in the Zoom room to please turn on their videos so that we can take a group photo. Anton, could you lead us in this activity, please? Anton, could you lead us in this activity, please? Thank you so much, Anton. It is an honor to have with us here 5 partner enterprises from Indonesia, the Philippines, and Vietnam. They will introduce to us their social or small and medium enterprises, as well as their partner communities. They will also share with us 3 aspects of their pilot experience. First, the findings and conclusions of their inclusive recovery plan. Second, the results of their BTP WEE and AVC scorecard assessments. And third, their Women's Economic Empowerment or WEE Vision and Action Plan. And of course, we will also be hearing about their personal lessons and key insights. Let's kick off the first segment of our panel discussion and get to know our 5 partner enterprises. We will be hearing from them one by one, and we will start with Ms. Charlene Tan, CEO and founder of Good Food Community in the Philippines. Charlene is the founder of Good Food Community, a social enterprise that links consumers to farmers who grow vegetables without chemical pesticides or fertilizers. They are a community that promotes a sustainable and healthy lifestyle by providing food that is nourishing, but also respects our farmers and the environment. Good Food Community works closely with smallholder farmer groups from different farming contexts. Welcome, Charlene. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Seth. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening. It's an honor to be here, and I'm really excited to hear everyone else's experience. So allow me to briefly share about our social enterprise. Perhaps you might have something similar where you are, and I hope to contextualize a lot of what you're about to hear about our experience. Next slide. So we're Good Food Community. I think we'll be talking about the sharing of the piloting experience later and the reflection. So I'll just share with you about our social enterprise. So Good Food Community, from the surface, people know us by this basket of vegetables. So it's woven in it's packaged in a beautiful banana leaf box, and it's a mix of local vegetables that are organic from different farmer communities. Next slide. But why do we exist? We started Good Food over 10 years ago because we felt that our food systems were basically sick. We had in many cities like diabetes and heart problems for many of the working class, for everyone, and it's a type of malnourishment. Meanwhile, we have hunger for the poor. Our farmers experience lean months, which means seasonal periods of hunger. And there's a lot of poisons and pesticides like killing our ecosystems. And we are, everything is just unsustainable. So we see all of these issues as symptoms of a deeper problem in our food system. And we felt that the best way to begin at a solution to heal this would be to develop a relationship. If we knew who our farmers were, if we could speak to them, if we could understand where our food is grown, we could come up with a solution together. And so the mission of Good Food, this basket of vegetables that we deliver every week, is a symbol of the farmer-eater friendship that we try to build around healthy communities. It becomes a symptom of good health when we have a lot of these, and a symptom of solidarity. So our business model is really working with smallholder farmers, planning with them and offering planning with them diverse production and connecting them with subscribers in the metro who will get a basket of vegetables every week of whatever's local and whatever's in season. In this way, they make an investment in their health, they make an investment in our local economy and in our community by being in solidarity with our farmers. Next slide. So where we work with different farmer groups, but our main processing center, so where we actually repack all the vegetables, do quality control, and distribute it, are in Quezon City, in Metro Manila, in the capital. We also run a market, so it's a Good Food Sundays market, where we invite other food producers to offer what they have and showcase what's local in our community, also in the metro. Since the pandemic, we've started community kitchens. So these are what they sound like. These are households coming together and organizing kitchens so that they can feed the poor. So part of our produce goes directly towards poor communities who organize themselves and bring themselves together to feed each other. And they started also growing organic gardens. So we've mobilized volunteers to help and teach, mobilize soil from our farms so that they could grow their own food. And finally, we also operate in terms of campaigns, with the Stop Golden Rice Network, Slow Food Sari Sari, and Greenpeace. And a lot of these are more nationwide campaigns. So I put these as locations of where we work because these are all the places where we feel friendship is needed. No, it's not just the tangible creation of and delivery of vegetables, but also creating a space where people can meet each other face to face. It's a place where we heal and build friendships with our urban poor and work together as equals, and where we also campaign for larger changes in our food system. Last slide. And whom we work with. So we work with about 80 to 100 farmers all over northern Luzon. So at any given time, it's about 60, 65, depending on how many people actually deliver that week. So for the action research, we decided to work with two groups. One is the Chico River Organic Producers Organization in Bauco Mountain Province. So it's about 10 hours away. If you can imagine that the vegetables travel 10 hours to get to the main processing center in the metro. And we work with Bayagong Association of Community Development in Sitio Bayagong, Barangay Knaren in Nueva Vizcaya. So they're later addition to our group, and they're about, I would say, about 7 hours away. So both these groups were invited to participate, but they're only two of the many farmers that we work with. And at least for Cropo, for Chico River Organic Producers Organization, we learned through this exercise that they're all women. So I guess to like bring it together and to clarify, like when we started the social enterprise, we thought that it would be simple, but we realized that there's so much more to the work and so much more meaning also to be had in terms of developing a friendship. So it's not just about moving the vegetables from one place to another and planning, but it's about discussion of shared issues, and it's about building each other's capacity towards a shared goal. So I'd love to share a little bit more about that later.
Thank you so much, Charlene. Farmer-eater friendship. I really like that.
Yay.
Okay, so now let's get to know about Toko Trubus Mitra Swadaya in Indonesia. Our second panelist today is Mr. Paulo Sigit Hernowo, or Pat Sigit, a marketing and communications supervisor of Trubus Mitra Swadaya. Pat Sigit got his basic education in the small town of Depok in southern Jakarta and graduated with a bachelor degree in soil science from the IPB University in Bogor in 1992. He worked as a surveyor for the Transmigration Department from 1992 to 1994 before joining Toko Trubus in 1994. He continues to work with Toko Trubus as a trainer in marketing and communications, and since the year 2000, also as a quality control counselor in order to achieve product standards at the Trubus store. Please welcome Pak Sigit.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am so glad to be here, join this discussion. And please allow me to present our experience in action plan of implementation of Transformation Partnership and Women Economic Empowerment in Indonesia. With me, my senior colleagues, Mrs. Anna Budi Rahayu, and I will present first and the third step, but Mrs. Anna will presentation the second phase. Please allow me to start my presentation. Next. Here we are, the Toko Trubus, one of agriculture store in Indonesia. We starting by the demands of the readers, agriculture magazine, Trubus magazine, published in 1969, and in 1983, the first agriculture shop was opened in Gunung Sahari Street, Central Jakarta, now better known as Toko Trubus Gunung Sahari. Currently, we have 29 branches in Java, Sumatra, and Bali Island. Next. What the activity of Toko Trubus is one at the first and main business is agriculture and pet shop. Distribution component. We have several outlets, agents, and modern outlet. And then we also provide landscaping, for consultation, land clearing, survey, and garden design. The fourth of our business is reforestation, about rehabilitation of watershed around Indonesia. And we also provide agricultural education, training, visiting, and workshop, and also exhibition and bazaar. Bazaar is small exhibition in modern store. Please next, Ms. Fania. The service and product that provided by Toko Trubus is plant, equipment, is the garden tools, and then as product, media information. It's known by, it's known with Trubus magazine, and then landscape, pet shop, and food and beverage. Next. Our business chain and supplier is like this slide. Was product and supply production. It's get our purchasing will buy from them, and then we have storage, distribution, and at the end is outlet for selling this product. We partner with 146 suppliers, 505 farmers or farmer group. In addition, we also empower to improve their product quality. As Mr. Sep talked about me at the first, since 2000, I also as quality control in Toko Trubus. We empowerment about 10 suppliers, 2 in Bali, 2 in South Sumatra, 2 in East Java, 3 in West Java, and 1 in Central Java. They joined with us about 10 years or more, and almost, and most of them is second generation of the business owner. So we have a long-term connection with our suppliers. We empower about 10 fruit communities and business people at Makarsari community, and also fruit supplier or fruit planters. Next, Ms. Fania. Now, I would introduce our 5 supplier for sample of baseline BTP WEE in AVC. The first is Berkah Alam. It's a goat manure, owned by Miss Jumariah. I can tell you, Miss Jumariah is a single parent, so he running this business by assistance of about 30% with employee, most of them is women. The second is Nurtani Jaya, it's fruit plant seed. Now leaders by Dana Nur Hadi. This is he is the second generation of the owner. We have joined. We have cooperation with them about maybe the 30 years. The third is Musangking Tani. It's a durian Musangking seed, honored by or leaders by Ending Supriyatna. The five is Rizky Tani. It's also fruit plant seed, leaders by Ending Enjum. And then the fifth is Nurmala Tani, honored by Ernest Madesa. All of them have a long-term relationship with Toko Trubus, as I say. Next. Oh, maybe it's I will let Miss Anna to
Yes.
present this
Terima
second step.
kasih Pak Sigit. We'll ask Miss Anna to share her portion in the next segment. So clearly, you know, Toko Trubus is quite an established enterprise with over 400 partner farmers and with lots of products and services. But I'm also happy to note from your sharing that you're also doing initiatives such as reforestation and other environmental initiatives. Okay, so our third panelist is also based in Indonesia. I'd like to welcome Mr. Shamsul Ardiansa. Shamsul is currently the Senior Officer of Strategic Alliance at Dompet Duafa. He is an Islamic humanitarian and development enthusiast with more than 20 years of experience working in community organization, advocacy, and human rights issues. He has been part of ISEA since 2018, becoming a trainer and companion for the implementation of BTP WEE in the agricultural supply chain in the Dompet Duafa work environment. It's good to see you, Shamsul. Welcome to the panel.
Hello, Seth. Thank you for introduction. I think, hi everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Allow me to share the first segments of our presentation. Actually, this presentation should be delivered by my colleague, Mr. Chasdimin, but currently he has not able to join. I think to share this, and he just asked me to share his presentation today. I will be speaking shortly about the PT Karya Masyarakat Mandiri, one of our social enterprise under the umbrella of Dompet Duafa that we are established actually starting since 2015, but the process of becoming KMM are starting since the beginning of Dompet Duafa. So first, I would like to share the information about Dompet Duafa. Karya Masyarakat Mandiri is actually part of our initiative. Dompet Duafa has 5 pillars programs. One of them is economic development, and we are focused on community development in economic empowerments at the community level since the beginning of Dompet Duafa. And we have several focus area covering farming and then livestock and also partnering in capacity building for the small medium enterprises at the beginning. And in 2015, we are changing our strategy. We are changing Karya Masyarakat Mandiri from program into institutions. We put legal standing for Karya Masyarakat Mandiri as limited enterprises owned by Dompet Duafa to initiate, to be the role model of social enterprise that been initiated by Dompet Duafa. Why we changed our strategies between from the community development into the social enterprise? Because we see we saw that at the time Indonesia is already like leverage into like not only lower middle income countries but become upper middle income countries. Our economic become developed, but we saw that there is so many initiative at the local level should be organized in a well in a systematic strategies. Social enterprise as seen by Dompet Duafa as the next strategy that will be become the future strategies of how we can work together with the community to not only to lift up their capacity, not only for like charities activities, but involved in a real business situations under the transformative matters. So KMM was established in 2015 as a limited enterprises. We are conducting economic empowerment programs. We are also conducting investment and also agribusiness activities. That's why we are joining in this initiative as part of SMEs that focus on partnering with men and women small producers in agriculture for a change. This is our visions. I can share you all the visions of KMM, but basically we have tagline integrity, empowerment, and sustainability. Integrity means that we are doing business with community in integrated with integrity. We are not like taking too many like others middlemen. I think in the Philippines that also some issue like in the middleman we call it maklar or middle that taking so many benefits from the community. We are doing business with community in integrity ways. We are doing the business not only just like for transactions, but we are mostly using business as our tools for community empowerments. And hopefully by those two tagline, we can set up the basic of sustainability at the local level. So the issue of sustainability that right now become focused on global issues, we can also implement at the local level. This is the business model of KMM. Basically, if you see, we have two main focus: partnership with local communities and also a partnership with other enablers. So KMM is playing as like not only small medium enterprise. We are still doing the capacity building activities. We are facilitating some enterprises to implement their CSR activities at the local level. And in the other side, we are also focused on business activities. These are four area. We are still doing community development. We are still focused on business incubations and applied research. We are also still, but the main focus right now is the last two: investment in agribusiness and trading activities with the community. This sounds area of our activities. If you can see that in almost all our pictures, there is no women there. So this is the things that why we interest in joining this project, because we would like to transform our business process, not only focus we can say that right now KMM and Dompet Duafa is like, you can say I'm honestly say that we are still probably gender blind. We are not seeing the differentiate the gender relation in the community level at the beginning, but right now we are starting to see the importance to have like comprehensive approach on gender mainstreaming in our program. So that this is why we are interested in joining in our initiative. This is our focus area. I will not tell you too many information about it. This is our product that right now being produced by our small producers, men and women small producers in our assistance area. And we are also still supporting. I will tell you later about this two main event in Indonesia in the learning and insight sessions. Okay, now you can see this is our scores when we are
Shamsul,
Yes.
you're getting ahead of yourself. We will take that up later.
Okay, thank you. I will stop
Thank you.
here and I will
Yes.
continue later.
Thank you so much, Shamsul. It's obvious that you are working directly with communities, and I'm glad to note that you said you want to work with women more. So maybe next time we will have more photos of women in your slides.
Yes.
Anyway, let's now go to our fourth panelist from Vietnam. She is Miss Ho Thu Quang An, director of the Vien Minh Company. Miss An was born in a mountainous district in Vietnam. In the days when Vietnam's medical system was still underdeveloped, she already believed in the crucial role of herbs and traditional medicine. It was herbs that helped her and her family to cure some common diseases such as cough, boils, and dermatitis. Growing up, she attended and graduated from the Faculty of Linguistics in Quy Nhon University and then worked as a translator. She thought she would stick with this job, but in 2012, after spending 3 years taking care of her two young children, she more and more understood the power of herbs, especially Melaleuca herbs, which is, I believe, is tea tree. She worked hard to share with other mothers about the benefits and uses of Melaleuca essential oil, then gradually developed the brand Vien Minh. Vien Minh Company is 9 years old now, and Miss Anne has more colleagues and partners to help her continue her journey of providing proactive healthcare and beauty solutions to more and more families in Vietnam. Let's hear more about this wonderful company from Miss Anne.
Dạ, cảm ơn chị Shaf đã giới thiệu rất là đầy đủ về Vien Minh ạ. Tôi rất là vinh dự được tham dự cái buổi chia
Company.
sẻ.
I'm very happy to be here today and thank CSIT in Vietnam for giving and I feel very warm, still very warm now, even though now in Vietnam the temperature is nearly 30 degrees Celsius. Why I feel warm? Because apart from the enterprises in Vietnam, I see the enterprises in regional countries like from the Philippines, from Indonesia. So we feel that we are not alone in this journey, right? We feel that we have a community of SME, a community of social enterprises. So we were established.
Okay, tôi chia sẻ này cho nó rõ hơn ạ. Dạ.
Miss Anne?
Okay.
There you go. Your screen for you.
I can do it. Okay. Đây là cái doanh nghiệp mà về...
Okay, so this is a very quick introduction about my company. So this is a kind of tree planting session for the farmers in March 2022, and some agents, some distributors to visit our Melaleuca forest. Yeah, so my company was established in September 2013 and focusing on producing essential oils and products from essential oils and herbs. And our raw material area is 120 hectares in Ninh Bình province, in two provinces, Ninh Bình and Hà Tĩnh. And the target, we want to focus the beneficiary people we want to work with.
Share my screen with, is it? Dạ. Vâng.
Miss Anne,
để em chủ động cho.
Sorry, let me share my screen. Sorry, I want to share the screen by myself. So can you stop sharing screen? Let me share it by myself.
there were some problems with you sharing the screen earlier. It wasn't showing up, so that's why we... Okay, there.
Yeah. Để em chia sẻ để em chủ động.
Let me do it so that you know I can do it in my way. So okay, so we grew trees in March 2022 with 22,000 trees. And so yeah, as I said before, you know, we produce essential oils. Okay, so our mission is to provide active beauty and healthcare solutions from Melaleuca herbs. Okay, so our product comes from Melaleuca herbs, and we focus on the family, especially the family with children under 1 year of age. Why? Because at this age, you know, the children have a lot of problem with, you know, like a respiratory projects and dementia, like a skin related project. So most of the respiratory problems come from viruses. This is based on CDC, a statistic of CDC. Yeah, so the US organization, right? So people, many people now, more and more people are scared or concerned about antibiotics, right? So yeah, people do not want to use antibiotics, but they want to use herbs. So in our material zones, it is in the nature, and it has some risk, like you know, people will cut down the forest to grow it. So in 2019 we officially had one more, like a more 100 hectares, but before that we only had 100 hectares. So now totally we have a 200 hectares, and we work regularly with 60 households, and yeah, each one has about income is 5 million Vietnamese dong, like a 250 US dollars per year. So why so when we do this, we also contribute to protecting the environment and yeah, conservation of Melaleuca, because if we don't preserve it, it will be degraded and it will disappear soon. Yeah, so so this impact, this is about the impacts. So we not only have a social impacts, livelihood impacts, but also environmental impacts, right? And the you know, our products helps the women, right? For the women, for the children, and also a lot of women in ethnic minority participate in our business. So we women raising children improve their knowledge of healthcare, and at the same time increase their income. Now like a average you know 70,000 Vietnamese dong per year, per one person per year. Some of them are teachers, some of them are housewives, but or some of them are farmers. But the important thing is that, you know, like they yeah, we create a community where mothers can share experience in raising children. So this is the product. So 3 groups of products. The first one is about Melaleuca rejuvenation, yeah, restoration, yeah, Melaleuca restoration. And the second one, it is about Melaleuca for mental health. So help people to relax, have, yeah, after hard working hours. And the third group of product, it is the cleansers. Okay, so from the Melaleuca, we can produce like the spray or the hand sanitizer. Yeah, but purely natural, 100% from the nature, very safe.
Philippines, Indonesia,
so in some other countries like Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, you call it Patiputi, right? So this kind of tree is used a lot in healthcare. So we want to develop a Melaleuca zone in Vietnam, concentrated Melaleuca growing area in Vietnam. On the screen now, you can see a training for the farmer. The reason why we want to work with Gracie, the Gracie program, we are just like in the ocean, big ocean, and Gracie is like the last boy, and we want to catch it. Now we can develop further, because when In the past, we also have a training for the farmers, for the local people, but exploiting the leaf from March to September. But from September to March, they do not have any work to do, no income. So that's why we are thinking about, okay, what can we do? What should we do to work with the farmer, so that then luckily we were in touch with Gracie, or Gracie gave us the opportunity.
And last but certainly not the least, let's welcome our last panelist from Vietnam, Mr. Do Tin Si. Mr. Si is the director of the pharmaceutical company Shafako Sapa. His adventure began in 2010 when he was deputy head of research and development at Shafako's parent company in Hanoi. He moved to the northern province of Lao Cai to develop artichoke cultivation as a medicinal plant in the mountainous districts of Sapa and Bakha. The first challenge he faced was convincing the local communities to abandon rice and maize cultivation in order to start growing artichokes, a plant that they did not know about and that until then was only grown in Dalat in the Central Highlands. Welcome to the panel, Mr. Si. Mr. Si? Perhaps you are on mute?
Hello.
There, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Xin chào tất cả các
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So today we are very happy. Shafako Sapa is very happy to be in this interesting webinar. And now next to me, we have 4 household farmers. They are Hmong ethnic minority, and they participate in our program. So these 4 households, 3 women. Yeah, so 3 women. Yes. Okay, people are saying hi to everyone. Okay, yeah, so yeah, ethnic minority.
Alo. Thế là bạn nghe được đúng không ạ? Vâng. Và xin thang dịch giúp mình trình bày bằng tiếng Việt, nên rất là mong được cái sự hỗ trợ phiên dịch. Vâng, xin được tóm tắt.
Okay, so I would like to briefly talk about so my presentation, the 7 contents, but I focus on the first one is introduction about Shafako Sapa, and then according to the format of the program, so there's 3 parts. The first one, introduction about Shafako Sapa. Yeah, so Shafako Sapa is a member company of Shafako Group, and Shafako Group is one of the biggest companies in Vietnam in medicinal materials. So Shafako Sapa, why Sapa? Because this member company is located in Sapa. So it is called Shafako Sapa, and I hope that someday you will visit Sapa, because Sapa is very famous in Vietnam. The weather in Sapa is very cool, yes, and also the geological conditions, the soil conditions, the weather conditions are very good for artichoke cultivation. So our mission is to devise ecological green products conducive to human well-being. So we know that this is ambitious, and in order to achieve this, we have identified our core values. So integrity, fortitude, enterprise cooperation, ingenuity, and accountability. So the word green and creativity are the very important core values. Only creativity and green development can help us to develop sustainably Okay, so here, this is the picture of our factory built in 2016 in Lao Cai province. Before that, because we were established in 2001, so now we are like 20 years old, 21 years old, right? And we have already developed a value chain. So in this value chain, you can see that the Shafako Sapa is in the middle, yes, and we are very like we have advantage is that our mother company Shafako JSC, they and can provide technical support for us whenever we need, and the customers of Shafako JSC. Shafako mother company are also the customers of our Shafako Sapa. So when we have any guidelines on some standards, international standards like a GACP or the standards from WHO, yes, we can share it with so maybe you have heard some standards like a bio trade or UEBT, right? Like a ethical bio trade standards. So from it is a value chain from growing to processing to storage and distribution. So here are some images of our products. First, it is like you can see on the screen now some herbs that we grow, and recently we have been able to do a very important thing. Actually, it is a research project. Yeah, we have conducted a research project funded by Vietnamese government. It is about like a production of some healthcare products from cordyceps militaris mushrooms. So this is also very good basis for us to do more in R&D, research and development of healthcare products. So in here you can mainly, so our main product is medicinal ingredients, right? So we produce medicinal ingredients. So artichoke, we have a more than 50 hectares of artichoke with the participation of 153 households. This is only in Sapa, but if we count households in other areas as well, then the total number of households participating in artichoke growing is about like nearly 200 households. And we have a kind of orientation for sustainable development, because you know what, the ethnic minority people have their own indigenous knowledge, right? So we have to help them to optimize their indigenous knowledge for artichoke growing. So let's talk a little bit about artichoke growing. Artichoke is our main material. So the people here, they grow artichoke, the ethnic minority people here, and they harvest the leaves and then they sell it to us, to the company. So let's say we have a growing area of 50 hectares in Sapa town, Lao Cai province, with the participation of nearly 200 local households, more than 500 people. Yeah, so artichoke is a kind of enrichment medicinal plant for local people. And the artichoke growing area, we have been granted with GACP. It is a good practice in cultivation by WHO. So it's very lucky for us to have opportunity to participate in Gracie program, because if we have to empower women, like that really help us to strengthen our sustainable development, because I think when they participate in the project, they have a more opportunity to participate in capacity building activities. They come to the training, because you know what, in Vietnam, women have play a very important roles in economy, household economy management, right? Because they manage the household funding, the household budget. Yeah, those are some very brief information about our company. So I will tell more in the next segment. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. C. Thank you, everyone. And I'd like to welcome all our panelists to the screen. I'm so happy that all of you could join us this afternoon. Let's welcome all of our panelists, please. So, congratulations to all of you for being part of such inspiring enterprises. All of you are doing amazing work, and I am so curious to know from some of you, what made you decide to pilot the BTP WEE in AVC scorecard in your respective enterprises? Okay, what was it that made you to decide to pilot with us? So I would like Charlene to briefly answer first, followed by Shamsul, and then Miss Anne. Okay?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I feel like it was, I kind of asked Ma'am Lisa if we could join it. So I think compared to everyone else, we're a rather small company. There are only about 10 of us. And we often joke that, or we often feel alone in the space that we're working, because we're not a conventional company and we don't like to compare ourselves. And so, you know, juggling the issues of like, what's good for the business, what's good for society, and how do we treat our partners? Oh, sorry. Some of these questions we did not have solutions to, and we wanted to have something like this where we could hear from others. And so we were thinking of ourselves as a food system practitioner. How do we build these communities? And I was talking to Ma'am Lisa about a lot of these questions, and she said, well, we're doing this project. I'm like, can we please? I read kind of the book that was that came before building this scorecard, and I thought I would love to facilitate this kind of these kinds of conversations in our own company. So this could not have come at a better time, and we're just very grateful. So in the short, to sum it up, we wanted to join precisely for this, what we're doing here, and sharing how we are approaching our shared problems. So thanks.
Thank you, Charlene. Shamsul?
Yeah, thank you, Chef. For Dompet Duafa, Dompet Duafa is probably right now become one of the biggest philanthropic organization in Indonesia. Last year we collect almost 300 billion rupiah, so around, I don't know in USD, but it's a big money. And people out there are waiting for Dompet Duafa, even often asking to Dompet Duafa, but what is the impact of our existence to community developments in every level of our activities. One of them is in economic activities, and we realize that right now it is also part of our accountability to the peoples. We are obliged to present the result of our existence. So this is also like our responsibilities right now to present the impact of our existence, our program to our communities. Dompet Duafa has tagline, move mustahik to muzaki, meaning that moving the poor into the enablers, moving the one who from the recipients into one who can give, who can be the enabler for others. Meaning that this is the impact, this transformative effort should be done by Dompet Duafa. And we saw that the BTP provide opportunities for us to reflect and also improve our internal business process in Dompet Duafa. So this is why we are when we receive invitation from ISEA, and when we receive information about can we have like cooperations together, we are very interesting in the context of because I think we are seeing the similar situations right now. Probably since after this 2 years of this pandemic COVID, this issue has become more important. This transformative effort become more important because I think right now, if I'm using the word from UNDP, we will facing protected recovery with permanent scars caused by COVID. Meaning that our effort on using what Miss Lisa always said, build back better and fairer. The effort for it should be harder and should be the energy to push it should be bigger than before. I think that's from our side, Chef. Thank you.
Thank
Back
you
to
so much. Thank you, Samsul. And finally, Miss Anne.
Rồi, xin chào các anh chị.
Dạ, vâng.
Dạ. Như các chị đã
Thank
thấy,
you so much. Yes, so as I said before, in our company we focus on Melaleuca, right? And Melaleuca is in a very dry area where the people they are very poor. We also have a very small company, about like 10 employees, and 100 hectares we do not have enough employees for taking care of that, and we need to take care of the people in the material area so that they will be half of us to take care of the Melaleuca trees. But what we did at that time was very like a scatter, not consistent. We at that time we were doing it, but learning by doing. We did not know how to measure the success, so we were like still very embarrassed finding the way, the journey. And fortunately, our CSIP asked us like, okay, do we want to participate? We have a project, Gracie project. We're happy to have a clearer way, clearer roadmap, more professional roadmap, so that we can keep up with the global trend, global trend and regional trend. I was so happy to say, yes, I of course I take it, because in this area, to tell you the truth, it's very difficult. We are very small. We have a very small resource, and the farmers are very poor. They have a high expectation, so many needs, but we focus on like a relaxing life, good life. Good life, it means first we take care of ourselves, right? Then we take care of the nature, right? And we feel that we contribute some values to the community around us. So what our orientation is very suitable to Gracie objective. So yeah, so I think that's the reason why we have decided to pilot the BTP WEE scorecard and tools. In the past, we had so many concepts, so many definitions. It was very difficult, but after the training, we found everything is more logical. We think we can find it more useful, more applicable, and we trust in what we have chosen. Thank you, Gracie, and thank you, Cici.
So, some of you said that it just made sense. Piloting the BTP WEE made sense for where your company is right now. Some of you said that you wanted to measure the impact or result of your existence. It's very deep, Shamsul. And some, you looked at it as a solution or a better way or map out of the pandemic, as shared by Miss Anne. So don't worry, Mr. C and Paksa Sijit, I will be asking you questions in the next segment, so don't worry. So thank you so much for this first segment of our panel. If you have any questions or messages for any of our panelists, feel free to comment on Facebook or put them in our Zoom chat. You may also ask questions during our open forum later. Okay, So next, we will move to the second segment of the panel discussion. From September 2020 to July 2021, our partner enterprises journeyed with ISEA in piloting the We Train in AVCs tools, including the scorecard for social enterprises and small and medium enterprises. During phase 1 of the journey, our partners undertook an action research study to better understand the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic to their women and men small producers as input into their inclusive recovery plan. In addition, they conducted a baseline on the AVC scorecard from the perspective of their partner small producers. In phase 2, partners were further capacitated in using the scorecard through a formal training, wherein they also formulated their Women Economic Empowerment or WE action plans. Partner enterprises are currently in phase 3, which is the implementation of these plans towards improving their AVC scorecard scores. In this panel segment, we will be hearing about each of our partners' journey. Let's start with our partners from Indonesia, starting with Ms. Ana Budi Rahayu, Social Development and Program Manager of Bina Swadaya, which has been assisting Trubus Mitra Swadaya. Ana has worked for over 20 years in community development, consulting services, community business, and social entrepreneurship. She has experience in the field of participatory research for community-based strategic planning needs assessment programs, as well as participatory monitoring and evaluation programs. She is also experienced in designing community development training, including training needs assessments, facilitating training for communities, field facilitators and managers in income generation, community health, and organic farming units. Currently, Ana is the manager of Social Development Program at Bina Swadaya Consultant. We are so happy to have you here with us today, Ana.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chef, and hello, Mom and Chef. Thank you, Chef, to introduce me and very complete information. Yes, I'm here to share a lot of developing experiences and result in BTP.
Ana, could you maybe speak closer to your microphone so we can hear you better?
Yeah, it's better because
Yes.
my internet is unstable. Can I close my turn off my camera?
Yes, if that will help. Yes.
Okay. Hello. Next slide, please. Yeah. Our experiences doing BTP WEE in agriculture value chains from April until June to 2021 to focus with Bina Swadaya teams conducted an action research on the impact of COVID-19 on business companies and BTP WEE orientation in the agriculture value chains framework and scorecard. Information that Tokotrubus envisions being we in women's economic empowerment, activating company by identifying the company's role in improving the role and situation of small producer women. In the evaluation and the scorecard result, a strategic plan for we action emerged as the basis of Tokotrubus to seek to increase awareness of women's issue and play on the increasingly active role in women's economic empowerment. And continue and action planning is based on the BTP score that want to improve. So Tokotrubus is assisted by Bina Swadaya team, make an action plan that Tokotrubus can do for the next 3 years. Yes, there are 10 themes from the scorecard sub-elements which are translates into action activity for Tokotrubus. The main action is a compile a book of conduct transformational partnership of women in economic empowerment. This action is in the process of being drafted. Next, please. Okay, the key findings from action research results. The COVID-19 pandemic did not significantly affect affect agribusiness of the Trubus Mitra Swadaya and supplier partner, both women and men. There was even an increase in sales because the situation in pandemic situations such as work from home, many people interest to plants such as vegetable and fruit. And number two, impact of business aspect. Difficulty of raw materials for business production input price is increased limited supply of plants from other suppliers. This because of because increasing of demand, and so the suppliers very difficult to find the raw materials. Toko Trubus provide support from the beginning through product standardization agreements, assistance like Pak Sigit before mentioned us, money loans, market certainly, and building good relationship with supplier partner, both women and men. The loan is used for business capital and repair of production sites. The supplier partners are also active in non-formal activity, in social gathering and like pengajian, such as religions meeting and farmer group activity. The social assistance provided by the government is very helpfully for the community who join the supplier, especially in terms on availability of family food. The local government give the households like food and also money. The COVID-19 pandemic affect the behavior of clean and health living for respondents through the application of health protocols. For example, provide place for hand washing, using masker and also hand sanitizer. Increase family spending to buy vitamins and data package to the online school because the student must study at home. Next, please. Findings and conclusion of inclusive recovery plans. Currently, Toko Trubus continues to be committed to the transformation of partnership and economic empowerment of women and value chains. The recovery action plan is carried out based on procurement policy for women suppliers by prioritizing needs based on the work support facilities, work equipment that provide convenience of work, consider the needs of women in the workplace, implement gender stereotype programs, and women's representation in the household and organizational membership. And the number two, build the company capacity to overcome barriers and women's participation in organization, develop affirmation and all issue of women's empowerment related to leadership, women's access to the economy and land and gender equality, and women's resolutions. And the number three, carry out monitoring and evaluation that is responsive to gender issue and allocated annual budgets for regular programs to develop partnership. Currently, that Ibu Justina is the director of Toko Trubus is has commitment and full support this program, and also we have a periodic meeting to discuss about the progress of the plan of BTP WEE in the Toko Trubus store. Next, please. This is the result of BTP WEE in agriculture value chain scorecard assessment. This is the indicated rate of development with BTP WEE by SME. Like Mas Sigit mentioned that we research on 5 suppliers, Berkah Alam Raya, Food Mania, Nurtani Jaya, Musangking Tani, Rizki Tani, and Nurmala Tani is a fruit seed, especially Musangking, durian Musangking. The scorecards show that in Berkah Alam Jaya 56, Nurtani Jaya 56, Musangking Tani 53, Rizki Tani 55, Nurmala Tani 55. That fit the indicated level that SMA Trubus is the good transformational partner of small producer and
masing-masing partner suppliers.
but need to give focus attention friendly policy and practices. In the area of improvement, priority strengthening elements 2. Element 2 is commitment to develop strategic partnership with cooperative. And element 3, commitment to develop and sustain initiative that promote we in the supply chain and community impact by the enterprise. And then after that, move to element 1 and 4. Next slide, please. Yes, the result of BTP WEE in agriculture value chain scorecard assessment. This is the indicate developmental levels in the WEE enabler.
Anna, are you still with us?
This is the very important.
I think Anna lost her connection.
Yes, I think so too. While we're waiting for her to try to rejoin us, so just to summarize, the first slide that you saw is the total scorecard, whereas this one now is the WE score. Okay, so it was answered, the scorecard was answered by 5 of their partner communities, and that is why there are 5 scores. Okay, so maybe we can move to the next sharer, and we can come back to Anna later. But basically, they presented their total score and their WE score. Okay, so now I'd like to call on Shamsul again to share their journey and their scores.
Okay, thank you, Chef. So I will continue my last slide of presentations. Everyone, you can see from our slide that what we are doing in piloting WE standards, the BTP WE is focused on examining the internal business process of KMM. So we are not using yet to our partner suppliers, but we are focused on using this BTP WEE benchmarks into the KMM. And this is the result of our self-assessment when we are using the visionings of WE visioning in terms of KMM. You can see that overall scores is conclude that we are now still WE aware, and I think this is the first level of awareness on this when we are using the BTP WEE. And if you can if you see the scores, the baseline scores, the element number 3, commitment to develop sustain initiative that promote women participation and women economic empowerment in supply chains and communities impacted by enterprise, still become the lowest scores. Yes. So we realize that this is the biggest challenge that faced by Dompet Duafa, especially in PT KMM. That is why if you see our desired scores, we put the most ambitious scores in the element number 3. So this is we would like to for example, in the next years, we would like to have at least 18s. Our value in element number 3 is 18s. So the most significant changing that we are going to improve in our in the phase 2 of our project is mostly focused on element number 3. Even though we are still also have some homeworks in element number 1, number 2, and also number 4. But if we can say that the main focus for right now is on the element number 3. We in the context of how we do this process, we already like summarize a menu of transformations inside of KMM using the BTP WEE. We compile so many issues and we divide category. We are using 3 categories in the context of transformation inside of KMM. The first category is the issues that need to be formulated as a new internal policy inside of KMM. The second is we are using that we are seeing that some we have already, like for example SOP in program, we have already like practice in impact assessment, etc. And what we are doing is at this context is we just only reviewing the policies and revising to have like more compliance with the BTP WEE. And the third category that we are using when we are formulating the development plan in our action plan is we see that we don't need a new policy because we have already new policy, and the existing policy is already compliant with the BTP WEE. But what we need to do better is we need to create more model in the context of implementation. So we have like more learning on how implementing this benchmark in our activities. I don't want to share all those things because I think with this course, with this research course, we can say that we are more. I think we are very ambitious in the context of transforming the internal business process of KMM. But we can share with you later with some. Maybe not in this because we have limited time. We are not going to focus, but if I can say to you, the biggest policies, the biggest effort that right now we'll be doing by Dompet Duafa in KMM is conducting the initial assessments. We are mandating that all program that initiated by KMM should be we have like baseline with disaggregated data, for examples. So we are starting to use the gender approach in our assessments, program assessments. We are now have like focus on that kind of issue because I think this is the first initial factors that need to be done before we are doing the other transformation issues inside of KMM. That's for our side. Seth, back to you.
Okay, thank you, Shamsul, for sharing your baseline, and also to Anna earlier. We always have to start with the baseline, and what's important is that we now see your enterprises actually having these very specific actions or activities in your plan now on how you will improve or increase your scores, especially for element 3, which we know is the WEE element. So as all of us know, the perfect score for the scorecard is 100, and for WEE, the WEE score, the perfect score is 60. So yes, we still have a long way to go, but I think it's very important that we are all taking the first step. So let's hear about the experience now from Vietnam. Let's find out, starting with Miss Anne of the Vien Minh Company. Miss Anne, would you like to share your experience, please?
Yeah. Viên Minh xin được đại diện cho những doanh nghiệp mà có tác động tại Việt Nam.
The SMEs in Vietnam to share with you. So we have two material zones in two provinces. First in Hà Tĩnh, right? In the central region of Vietnam, we have a 100 hectare which have met the USDA's organic standards. The characteristic of the soil here is it has a lot of soil and it's very dry and poor quality. So people cannot grow rice on this in this land. So we grow, and here they grow some tree, some varieties, but it's degraded and the productivity is very low. So the second one is Ninh Bình. Yeah, so Ninh Bình also we have 20 hectares here. So the characteristic here is very different because Ninh Bình is not in the central region of Vietnam, but in the northern part of Vietnam. So the soil here is better. It's not sand, it's low-lying areas, and the income from rice and crop is very low. So they only do agriculture in one season, and the other season they do not do anything. So we import the Melaleuca from Australia and because you know what, we want to keep the indigenous variety, but the productivity of the indigenous variety is low. Yep. So that's why we still have to import the seeds from other countries, right? Here the people can have an income from 20 million to 50 million Vietnamese đồng per year. It's like 1,000 đồng to 2,500 USD per year. So here, this is in Ninh Bình, low-lying area. And here you can say people standing here and the water is up to their knees. And this is the sandy hills in Hà Tĩnh. Yes, so this tree is very good for protecting the area here. So in the 2 years, 2020 and 2021, COVID-19, we were heavily affected by COVID-19 due to the social distancing, lockdown. So the people here lost income, they lost their job, we also have to we could not, also there was interruption in picking up the leaf, in harvesting the leaf, Melaleuca leaf, and the people have to cut down their spending, and so they needed support from enterprise, from us. So because we work with we do not work directly with the farmers to collect the materials from them. So yeah, we work with intermediaries, the local manager. So yeah, through the Gray Sea scorecard, we know that this is our gap, this is our limitation. Yeah, so that's for the farmer, but for us, we were also affected. So due to COVID-19, due to the lockdown, so the personnel of our company also on leave due to social distancing, so they have to stay at home to take care of their children. Yeah, so their income decrease, and especially the suppliers of the packages and also the materials were interrupted because we have to import those materials from China, and also our working capital was affected as well. So in response to that, during the lockdown period, we focus on training, online training, especially training on financial management, and also we arrange personnel to make sure that we still have a personnel to take care of everything of the company. So third one is we apply the demand stimulus packages. So like we have some so today I'm thinking about how can work with Charlington has some to work with the housewife, right? So maybe we are thinking about cooperating with good food community. Yeah. So after this workshop, I will reach Charlton. Yeah. And also due to the COVID-19, luckily we receive support from CC, CSIP, from Oxfam, from Gracie. And we think we consider COVID was very terrible, right? But COVID also the opportunity for us to understand ourselves better and to see our strength, to see our weaknesses. And here, look at this, we only have like a 31, right, out of 100. So yeah, so through the project, Gracie project, we can better understand ourselves. So from this one, we also have an opportunity to realize our vision, right? So increasing from 4 to 11 women, from 60 households to 220 households, and increase income from 25 to 50% for farmers, because you know what, now we can only harvest, people can only harvest the leaf from the March to September. So 5 million, it's just $250. It's still very low, right? And the third point is that we expect to enhance our capacity on gender mainstreaming, or women's economic empowerment. They were supporting our partners, communities. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Anne. I'm happy to hear that you also see the pilot experience as a way to also reach the goals of your company. And very sad to hear the impact of COVID-19 to your partners. But also at the same time, it's good to see very ambitious targets in your WEE action plan. But as we know, COVID-19 did not affect everyone the same way. In fact, I want to go back to Miss Anna. I believe she's back in the panel. If you can recall, Miss Anna was saying that they actually increased income during the pandemic. Anyway, can we have Anna's slides back, please? I think we were showing the WEE scores. Yes. Miss Anna, are you back with us?
Okay, thanks. Can we start next slide? Yeah.
Yes.
Bisa. Yes, I'm back. Sorry, my internet is instabil. Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I read the sharing of vision and action plan for Trupus Mitra Swadaya, Ibu Justina and team in this Zoom summit. Maybe 6% from Trupus Mitra Swadaya also attending here. Thank you very much. For 3 years, Trupus Mitra Swadaya has vision develop agribusiness company policies in partnership, transformation, and women's economic empowerment with gender mainstreaming, and conduct a gender responsive activity from truth monitoring and evaluation system. Maybe I share about the situation when we make the output. In preparing a work plan related to WEE, in Swadaya and Trupus discuss about the result of mini research conducted from November last year, and also we sit together and we make some plan how to analytical framework on women's economic empowerment appreciation in the role SMA and stakeholder in order to play a role of improving the situation and position of women small producers. And also we develop an action plan to operate the role of SME and company stakeholder as facilitator related to the women's
excuse me, Anna.
indicator of company compliance with BTP WEE.
Anna,
Yeah.
excuse me. Yes, we're having some feedback
Chef,
from your.
yeah.
Yes, maybe you can try removing the earphones. It might be better. Could you try without your
Yes,
earphones? Let's try.
Yes. It's clear.
Again.
Yes,
we still have some feedback. Have you removed your earphones?
Hello.
Yes. Can we try without your earphones? Can you try saying something, Anna?
Oh yeah. Huh? Mbak Nova, gimana?
Yeah. Anna?
Maksudnya saya kehilangan information.
It's better without the earphones. Let's try without the earphones.
Suaranya hilang lagi. Sudah.
Okay, go ahead, Anna. Go ahead.
Melanjutkan presentation. Okay, yes, sorry. Yes. Okay, thank you. In preparing a work plan related to WEE, Bina Swadaya and Trubus discuss about we share about the results of mini research conducted from November last year. And also we analytical framework of women economic empowerment, develop an action plan to operate the role SME and company stakeholders as facilitator related to women's economic empowerment, and indicator of company compliance with BTP WEE and agricultural value chain with scorecard and the assessment guide. And also through booster evaluation method using the BTP WEE scorecard. And also we conducted understanding gender mapping and WEE vision. We formulate the desire of the value in the future. We prepare a work plan table and implementation plan as well as mentoring plan by Bina Swadaya consultant. And also implementation of action plan that we have prepared based on the WEE indicator for suppliers of Trubus store. The output consists of the number one, women as partner suppliers. We support the assessment and planning, women-friendly technologies and capacity building, women representation and leadership, addressing the barriers, we affirmative action, supporting women to better manage risk, investing to achieve social outcome for women. Number 8, monitoring and reporting transformative and results, and finally achieving weak outcomes. I think it's enough for Bina Swadaya. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna. Okay, so we've heard 3 journeys so far. I'd like to call now Mr. C of Shafako Sapa. Please also share with us what your journey was like.
Xin chào cả mọi người, rất vui lại được.
Okay, so I'm happy to have the opportunity again to share. So according to the format of the workshop, so now I'm telling about the impacts of COVID-19 pandemic, right? So it's like other enterprises. My company faced with enterprises as well, but like other enterprises, in the difficulties, we also have new ideas, new ways of doing, and COVID-19 is also an opportunity for us to test ourselves, right? To really understand ourselves. So the first difficulty, the first challenge is about the increased production cost and also the interruptions in the personnel because some employees were positive to COVID-19, right? So that's why we had some kind of interruptions in personnel and during the COVID-19, the tourists, the number of tourists to Sapa was like a went down. Let's say like a zero, almost zero tourists came to Sapa during the COVID-19. That's why we did not have customers for our product because you know what, we also have work on community-based tourism. So and also the farmers working with us, they are our suppliers. What's the impacts of COVID-19 on the farmers? Because when they could still sell the materials, the artichoke, right, to us, and it was still no problem, you know, for them, and it was good for the farmers, right? However, the side products or other products, apart from the primary products, the side products, they could not sell their side products to tourists because no tourists, right?
Nó cũng rất là hạn chế cái thu nhập cho
Yeah, so that reduce their income and the input supplies for their agriculture, like fertilizers, you know, became higher. The price became higher, so that's also very challenging for her. So like Shafako company during the lockdown, you know, both my company and the farmer had challenges.
Tuy nhiên thì công ty cùng với các hộ dân cũng đã có những các cái hoạt động.
However, my company and the farmer try our best to overcome the difficulties. For example, we had to be, so like we try to do it better in terms of women's economic empowerment. Do you know what the women here? Oh, sorry. Right now, Mr. C is frozen. He's being frozen right now.
Mr. C, are you still with us? Oh, I think we lost also Mr. C.
Yes, I think so.
Is that right? Okay, let's wait for Mr. C to reconnect. In the meantime, let's call on our fifth panelist, Charlene from Good Food Community.
Hi, thanks. You can move to the next slide. So I only have 2 slides, but first I'd like to share. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. I think I need to explain a few things about our model. So it's called community shared. It's called community supported or community shared agriculture. And it's really built upon a partnership with farmers. So central to our model is sort of what we call a purchase guarantee, where we promise to buy a certain amount of the vegetables so that the farmer is not alone in risking all the investment of labor and inputs. And the model is such that we seek to serve households. So the diversity of the produce is key, where we have, you know, as many nutritious and colorful vegetables as you can imagine. And it's really meant to be a local sort of partnership. So it's building sort of a local ecosystem within our community and hopefully build friendships from there. So we've been doing this for over 11 years, and we're very small. Like, I mean, aside from the team, it's small scale, so it's only less than a ton per week. But it's so many different kinds. So at any given week, we have about 60 plus varieties of vegetables that we deliver, and they're all organic. So it's meant to be very holistic in terms of helping the farmers, taking care of the soil, and taking care of the people who eat it. When the pandemic happened, our supply chains completely, like with everyone else, I think, we had lockdowns and we couldn't reach our farmers and they were so far away. So with this action plan and with the participatory action research, one of the best things that really happened was it enabled us to reconnect with them. And ISEA was amazing in terms of introducing people in the locale to foster a communication with our farmers. And one of the best things about it is that we continue this partnership up to today, and we're able to communicate in a way that was not possible before. The way we used to do planning and delivery was, first with planning, you have to work with the farmers face to face. And with the pandemic, we couldn't do this. So we didn't have a way of like feeding back, farmers were just growing whatever they thought would be grown. But now that we have someone there that we regularly work with, who's part of the community and part of the academe, we have someone who's able to surface for us what the issues are and have a deeper understanding of how we can work together better. I also want to share that the way that we did the way that we talked about the WEE strategy in our team was, one of our team was trained to be a consultant, trained in this whole process, and then sat with us over Zoom to train us and have so many conversations about creating our scorecard and understanding the process. And I think it was very helpful to have Mabi, who's also here, do it, because she has an intimate understanding of the way we work and could well translate how we were doing things. So the output was our inclusive recovery plan. So we realized that the farmers need us to do what we're doing far better. We need to be marketing a lot of the vegetables better, marketing more, and that's really the key, because it's their livelihood. But I think also what we saw from the pandemic was a validation that the model works, because our farmers were food secure, even though our supply chains were interrupted. They were the ones who were worried about what we would eat because they had food, they had diverse gardens and they even had a practice of that anyone could harvest whatever they wanted in the community, which was a beautiful example of what we wanted the rest of the Philippines to be like. And it was through this participatory action research that we were able to surface these stories from the farmers and reconnect with them. So through many of these calls, so Mabi spoke to us as a team internally, and through the partners that ISEA connected us with, we worked with our farmers to understand what they would want also for their own WEE strategy. We came up with this inclusive recovery plan, so the image of what we're now implementing. So a better marketing strategy, a policy to, same as I think KMM, we need to start monitoring and evaluating what we're doing. So we're working on metrics that will better reflect our reason for being and the change that we're enacting, creating a vision with them. So one of the important things for us was to go back to the farmers and have since these conversations, we have just begun to talk to them again and really come up with a vision together through their lens of like what would be most improvement to our partnership, what would be the best, what does women's economic empowerment look like for them? Because I mean, in the Philippines, I don't know, look around you, Ma'am Lisa, Seth, Mabi, Kathy, like we're not very short of empowered women. So like it's the same with our farmers, like with our model, we attract women farmers. And so the question of empowerment was like not, I guess had a different tone to it that we needed to unearth. So when we talk about what does women's empowerment look like, we didn't want to, you know, just think, okay, maybe it's the number of women because they're already an all women's organization. We wanted to dig deeper and understand like, what does this mean for like the most vulnerable, or how can it be something that we include more women in? So that's what we wanted to confirm and that we're doing now. For our farmer partners, we wanted to create modules. So as I alluded to earlier, we just thought we were delivering vegetables and building friendships, but we realized that the farmers and us, there's so much more to the friendship that we need to develop. So one is a conversation on leadership and organizational development about, you know, our shared challenges with the climate emergency. What does this look like? How we can save more of the vegetables because, you know, we deliver fresh vegetables. And it's not always the case that what the farmers harvest is exactly what we can deliver. So there will always be surplus. How can we develop that? But I think most of all, it was, we didn't have a reason to talk about gender and development really. And so what this whole action plan allowed us was for a chance to really look at our society, to look at the way that we work together within good food and with our farmers and see like, how can this be something that we continually improve against, you know, do better. It's not something that we find elsewhere. So I think the conversations internally and with our partners are of the best benefit that to continue. And finally, of course, the seed bank and really owning women's economic empowerment as part of the model that we offer. So like I mentioned, we work mostly with women by default, but how do we, when we're offering our model to other farmer communities in the Philippines, how can we show the women's economic empowerment side of it better? Next slide. So I didn't go in too much into detail, but this was basically our assessment. So GFC's mission to evaluate and act upon the food system, albeit not having a comprehensive and systematic strategy on improving women's economic empowerment, inherently imbibes its essence in the way pamayanihan or community shared agriculture is able to affect the lives of producers and consumers that it strives to connect with, inclusive of all, but especially women. So we do strategically work with farmers and build their capacity through the participatory guarantee system, which is another process where we talk through a lot of the shared issues and really garner support for what we're trying to do together. However, we have not systematically inquired into aspects like disaster preparedness, tenurial rights. I think another group also shared this. And we didn't internally measure ourselves against WEE outcomes. So this is something that we wanted to, that we think is a good addition to the way that we're looking at our work. So actually the farmers were more generous with us. We were also ambitious like everyone else in this call. It is, you know, we want to be the most transformative that we can possibly be. And the community suppliers were very generous in their score, giving us a 57 overall, while we scored ourselves a 50. So we're happy to be on this journey and do better next time.
Thank you, Charlene. So that was the total score that you shared, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you. So yes, that is the second segment. Just hearing more about your journey during the pilot experience. I'd like to call the panelists on screen again. I have a few questions for some of you. While waiting, I just wanted to share that I think it's very interesting how, you know, each of you are sharing scores. It's either a self-assessment of your own enterprise or it's from your partner communities, right? And I think it's interesting how the scores are different or similar. Very good to reflect on these scores. I have a one question here, and I would like first Mr. C to respond. Is he still around? and then Anna next. So the question is, what was the most interesting? Yes, Mr. C, welcome back. Mr. C, what was the most interesting or surprising thing that you learned while consulting your partner communities about the impact of COVID-19? Most interesting or most surprising?
Có thể nói rằng là
Yeah, thank you for your question. I can say that the COVID-19 caused, severe impacts on the performance of of our company. But during that very difficult period of time, we and the farmers came up with some solutions, right? So you asked us about the surprising findings. So the surprising findings for us is that the women are the one who are very productive and who are very good at using technology, because now 30% of the community members use smartphones. 30% of the community members own smartphones. So that's why we work with them, to guide them on some skills like taking photos, utilizing social networks like Facebook, Zalo for PR, for marketing. So before that, we did not expect that they could do that, but in reality, they did it. They did a great job. So the result is that you know what, for regarding the products that they don't directly provide to us, like flowers or the roots of the trees. So yeah, so they know how to do marketing online. Of course, it's simple, it's not like that professional, but like they use Facebook and they can create a fan page, and with that, it helps them to sell their products, the side products, the flowers of the artichoke, the roots of the artichoke. Before that, they could not sell it, but through Facebook they could sell it. Yeah, so it's very useful for them. So yeah, we learn more about the women there, something that surprised us, right? And they also they improve their presentation skills. In the beginning, I did not think that they could stand up and they could talk about something for like a 5 or 3 minutes. No, we think that they would be very shy and they don't know what to say, but they can do some live stream. They can do some live stream on Facebook to share about their product. And can you imagine, they are like a hormone people, the ethnic minority women. So that's maybe they don't know how to read, they don't know how to write, but they know how to do it. So that's very amazing. And that during the COVID-19, they also improved some skills. Yeah, some skills. So like Facebook, marketing online, presentation, and production organization. Yes, how to organize their production activities. And that's something that we can see. But I think apart from that, some other things, I believe. So I think there was some changes. Yeah, when we assess, when we evaluate, when we use a criteria to, at that time we only obtained like a 31 points. Our score only 31 points. We didn't care about working with the women. We don't care about that. Just we just care about, okay, they can provide materials for us. That's all. But when we work with Gracie, we realize that working with women, with the women farmers, help us to have a more balanced development. And this is a kind of our long-term development vision. Yeah, so we will focus on how to work more effectively with farmers, especially engaging more women in our value chains. Thank you very much. Yes, that's, I think, interesting and surprising to me. Yeah. Yeah, so I think this is a very like important foundation or like a basis for our larger scale activities in the future that I'm going to tell more later. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. C. So it was the women who surprised you the most, right? Okay, so I will also like to ask Anna the same question, because you said earlier that your farmers actually increased income and sales. So we just want to hear a little bit more about that. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
What was the most interesting or
Yeah,
surprising thing?
Yeah, sorry if I speak in bahasa, nanti Mbak Nana can translate in English. Okay, yes. More bit information about condition in Indonesia, that the impact of COVID does not affect the agriculture sector too much. It's indicated by the growth of the agriculture is 2.26 year on year in 2021, especially in horticulture. Sehingga, sorry, saya mix in bahasa, sehingga kami tidak menemukan adanya dampak yang serius terhadap para supplier toko trubus. Sebagai contoh bahwa justru permintaan pembelian pengadaan untuk bibit tanaman itu meningkat karena hampir rumah tangga itu pada saat work from home mereka adalah menanam baik itu vegetables maupun tanaman buah gitu. Namun demikian 1 tahun setelah COVID kami melakukan penelitian sejenis. Ternyata ketika orang-orang sudah mulai bekerja, adanya penurunan permintaan terhadap tanaman ini.
Sorry, excuse me, I do not hear the interpreter from Bahasa to English.
Okay.
Mbak Nana, yes. Mbak Nova.
Okay.
Okay.
I will translate.
Anna, was that it for your response?
Nah, no more information, no for information, because bahwa para petani ini justru sudah mempunyai inisiatif untuk menjual secara online, bahkan mereka mempunyai channel YouTube, sehingga banyak sekali permintaan yang untuk mengantisipasi penurunan dari penjualan, karena setelah dampak pandemi yang demikian lama, orang-orang tidak membeli lagi produk-produk seperti pupuk maupun bibit tanaman. Ini hasil penelitian kami terakhir di akhir tahun 2021 gitu. Jadi yang dilakukan oleh teman-teman trubus saat ini itu justru seperti sesuatu yang menarik, karena akan menolong atau akan mendorong bagaimana para supplier ini tetap bisa bertahan dalam kondisi yang tidak menentu saat ini, dan bahkan di dalam rencana kerjanya akan menambah para supplier perempuan ini melalui memperkenalkan mereka terhadap bisnis yang tepat gitu, lalu bagaimana bisa menyusun analisis usaha sehingga mereka mengerti akan mendapatkan keuntungan berapa. Salah satunya kami juga sudah melakukan pelatihan kepada berkala salah satu supplier, sehingga ibu-ibu ini bisa mengerti bagaimana mengatur perekonomian dalam rumah tangga mereka, karena dengan adanya pandemi ada dan semacam masker dan lain-lain yang selama ini tidak pernah mereka keluarkan. Itu dari kami. Terima kasih banyak, Chef. Thank you, Chef, and Mom and Sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Anna. I think we weren't able to translate some of your response, but I picked up earlier that you were sharing that the agriculture sector in Indonesia as a whole was not really affected so much by the pandemic. So I think it's something that you also took, the opportunity to support your farmers further, given that
Can
they
I,
were.
yeah, can I translate? Can I
Anyway,
translate
let's
the
move on
point?
to the last and final segment of our panel.
Can I
Um,
translate a point from
In the
Anna?
interest of time, I would like to just
Seth, I
request
think
for.
there's a translation that is being offered by Dewi.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I just translate the point from Anna. There are four points.
Try to get to have that shared.
Yeah.
Sometime later.
Huh?
Yes.
Can I translate now? Just the point from Anna.
Okay. Anyway, we'll sort that out. There is a translation. I stand corrected. So please check that out. Okay, at this point, we'll move into the last
Seth, I think
segment.
that
Yes, Lisa.
we didn't understand what Anna said. Could Dewi translate, please?
Yes, I can translate. If you don't mind, I can.
Sorry, I thought there was a recording somewhere that we could access. But anyway, yes, Dewi, please go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I just translate the point. There are 4 points. The first.
English channel, please.
Yes, I'm in English channel right now. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dewi, we can hear you.
Thank you. Yeah, there are 4 points from Anna and 1 point already say by the moderator. And then the second, after the COVID, there are the decrease of the profit from the community because the people who buy a seed and who buy fertilizer from the trubus is not buy anymore because they going to work because there are no COVID anymore. So the third point, this position is make difficulties from some supplier, include the woman supplier, but they try hard to market their product now go to the online market. So some supplier, they sell the product to the online market and also through the YouTube to manage their decrease benefit. And then the last point is to Trubus also understand this situation. So now they try to make the new strategy, especially for the woman supplier, how they can survive right now. For example, with any empowerment, for example, the enterprise analytic, and then any kind of training, so the woman supplier can manage their business in their business, also their economic in the household level. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dewi.
You are welcome.
Now we are ready to move to our final segment of the panel. And in the interest of time, I would like to ask each panelist to maybe just have a short sharing, maybe 3 to 4 minutes each. So the next segment is all about your reflections and insights and learnings from the pilot. So all of you now are in the process of integrating and mainstreaming the benchmarks. So we want to also see what are your reflections moving forward. Let's start with our partners from Vietnam, starting with the Vien Minh Company. Let's welcome again Miss Anne.
Vâng. Chào các anh chị.
câu hỏi dành cho doanh nghiệp mà chúng tôi là.
So what is the question? Can you repeat the question? Seth, can you repeat the question? Hello, Seth. Hello. Hello, Seth. Can you repeat the question?
Hi, Seth. Can you repeat the question for Anne, please? The translator is asking.
No, we are moving to the next segment. So it's time for Miss Anne to share her reflections. So if we can pull up her slides, please.
So we are moving at the on this segment 3.
Yes, that's right.
Được ạ, được ạ. Ok, bài học
Yes,
kinh nghiệm
lessons
của chúng
learned.
tôi khi triển khai á, thì các anh chị thấy rằng
Yeah,
là.
so the lessons learned. Okay, you know what? So we work, we collect the Melaleuca, and Melaleuca is grown in very dry area, right? Difficult areas. So when we do it, what we can see, the advantage. So we will talk about the advantages first. The first advantage is that the people there, they are very difficult. They live in difficult circumstances, but they want to change. They want to learn. And the second advantage is the local authorities support, right? Because only the local people who are willing to follow the local regulation like a good citizen, then they will be prioritized to be put in the Melaleuca harvesting team. So I think this is a very interesting impact. The advantage is that we have a support from both farmers and local authority. And the next advantage is that we ourselves have orientation to develop, to strengthen the relationship with the relationship between our company and the people there, because when we have a relationship with them, good relationship with them, they will be on behalf of us to take good care of the Melaleuca tree there. Okay, let's talk about the challenges. The challenges, first one, it is about the technology and the management skills and also the commitment. Sometimes they break their commitment. Yeah. So so what we can do about that? What we can do is that before we start working with them, we have to have some agreement with them. Yes, agreement with them, like what is the reward, what is the punishment. Yes, if they don't follow that, they break their commitment, they have to suffer from some consequences, right? So that they will become more professional in their business. And the next challenge is about our funding. To tell you the truth, we do not have a kind of systematic budget for CSR, right? So for example, we let the people there to grow Melaleuca tree. Each Melaleuca tree costs 3,000 dong, and we need like 11,000 tree. It is about like nearly 2,000 US dollars, and this one we have to extract some money from our profit. So before that we didn't allocate any money for that, but now, you know, we can shape it like we allocate our budget for that, like for forestation, right, activity. So the way we, do you know what? Because the land for growing Melaleuca is under the management of the local authority. So it's very difficult if we want to increase the ownership, the land ownership of the people. So instead, because in Vietnam, the land belongs to the ownership of the government, not of the people, right? So instead of helping them to own the land, we have them to own the trees, the Melaleuca trees, so they can exploit, right, the Melaleuca tree for their livelihoods. And
một cái người quản đốc tại địa phương.
yeah, so what is our role? Our role is that we are the buyers, right? We work with the local people there. So it means we do not interact directly day by day with the farmer. That's why we cannot hear them every day, or like the conversation between us and the farmer there is not on a daily basis. So that's why when we implement we can improve the conversation, the frequency of our conversation with the farmer. So like in this May and June, we will conduct the bee the bee raising for honey. You know that in the Melaleuca forest we have bees as well, and the honey bee from the Melaleuca forest is very good too. So that's also another idea for us to have a more interaction with the farmers. Thank you.
I'd like to call now Mr. C. What are your lessons learned or reflections, Mr. C?
Hello. Vâng.
Yes, go ahead,
Okay,
Mr.
now we can hear him. Okay, so I can say that for Shafako Sapa, for my company.
So I'm just worried that some of your
yeah, so the application of information technology yeah, among the women. So we can say the women, I don't know, but the women in the community where we work, they like participating in our project. In the past, they were they were not confident, but after participating in the Gracie activities, the company became more active, more proactive in involving women's participation. So that's why our lessons learned is that we have to recognize the strengths of the women. Yes, they have a strength. Yes, they have capabilities, but the problem is just how we can awaken their capabilities, right? Yeah, so like some products that now they can sell their my products via social networks, right? And when they become more viable, more active in these activities, they can also confirm their voice in their family. So so next to me now, I have three women. Yes, they are farmers and they are very confident. They come here today. They come and they also sitting next to me, and they are joining. They are listening.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Mr. C.
Vậy thì cái mà
Okay, so let's talk about the orientation or the plans, right? So now we are developing. So we have a kind of foundation already, and we want to not only producing the products, but we want to step in. We want to step in tourism, right? So herbal or herbs in combination with tourism, community-based tourism. So they are they work with our company to provide the medicinal herbs, right? So they also can have a homestay, right? Homestay facilities to attract tourists, right? So the tourists come and the tourists can enjoy some services. For example, the herbal bath, right? So do you know it? Or like a steam bath, right? And so ecosystem or ecotourism and community-based tourism. That is some ideas for our further partnership with the local community here. Of course, this is very ambitious. It's just like at a very initial stage, but we I think because you know what as far as I know, the government of Vietnam is developing a national project on herbal on indigenous herbs and indigenous varieties, especially for the mountainous areas and ethnic minority areas in Vietnam. And with that, I hope that in the future, my company, Shafako Sapa, can work further with the local women, with the ethnic minority women there. And also, our company, now we can realize more benefits of women's economic empowerment. So like in the past, before we engaged with Gracie, our score is the same to Viên Minh company, also 31 out of 100. But now if we reassess our company, we reassess BTP in WEE in our company, maybe the score will be higher. So, but the most important thing is not about the score, but the most important thing is about how, you know, we can empower the women in our company. Yes. So I think in the future, if we have more project from international partners like a Gracie or from the government, we believe that we can engage more women. Yes, we can have more women because you know what, Sapa, we consider Sapa is the hub of valuable herbs. I hope that one day all of you will have opportunity to visit Vietnam and even visit Sapa. Yes, so in the future, maybe Vietnam will have a kind of strategy for herbal economy, you know, and then the local people in general and the local women in particular in Sapa will have a more opportunity for their development. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you once again, Gracie, giving us the opportunity to participate in this events, and on behalf of the local farmers here, the local women here, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. C. We have 3 more panelists to hear from, and we are running out of time also. So I would like to ask the remaining 3 to maybe just keep your sharing to maybe less than 5 minutes if possible. I'd like to call now Charlene of Good Food Community to share some reflections.
Okay. I'll just stick with one slide and I'll try to keep it short. So
Thank you.
yeah, there are 3 points, I think. One is on when we were talking and exploring the question of resilience, and with the pandemic, we realized that the farmers need local markets and they need a local ecosystem of support. Because as I mentioned, we're so far away also. And if for them to depend completely on us is not sustainable. So to build resilience, I think through this process, we learned how to reach out to the local academe, reach out to government, and really push for who in the area we can work with as partners. And so the vision is for the farmers to be able to reach out and build these partnerships on their own. The second point, I think, reflection on it is, I guess, the appreciation for diversity. So the process came at a time when, there were lockdowns and there was so much like stress psychologically for my team, and people were affected very differently. So I think the process of going through this and asking the farmers and seeing like these different dimensions to their own well-being helped us also internally, and the questions that were posed to us about how we were doing allowed us to see how people were affected differently by the pandemic and appreciate, okay, like, we need to listen to all of this to come up with a plan together and to listen to how each other is affected. So this is a practice that we continue up to today. And we are trying to build a model around it to facilitate that conversation with the farmers. Finally, I think the contribution of this, what's been really helpful, even though it was arduous for a small team to spend so much time on reflection and really talking things through, was reminding ourselves that we're in the business of transforming relationships. Like, we're not in the business of selling vegetables. We're about social change. And in order to stick to social change, we need to talk about how we relate to one another as people, right? And the more that we can talk about this, that we have a language to speak about this as a shared project to improve and to share with other people, there's tremendous power in what we can change together. So I think we allowed us, like with the idea of gender and women's economic empowerment, to see like how we were relating with the men and how they were relating with us in our own team, and same thing with the farmers. So it gave us a language to focus back on social change and the kind of transformation that's possible. So thank you.
Thank you, Charlene. Next, I would like to welcome back Pak Sijit. Welcome back to the panel.
Yes, thank you, Chef. I think I have so many points of reflection, but as you wish, Chef, I only have, I wish I can say it in only 2 minutes. The BTP orientation stages in AVC framework and score provide insight, awareness, and commitment to Toko Trubus in implementing good practice in order to achieve partnership, transformation, and women economic empowerment in agriculture value chain. This BTP WEE orientation guide us to produce a book of conduct that can reorganize company policies toward the gender equality and issue equitable and sustainable work of environment. To ourselves, Toko Trubus, using this BTP WEE as measuring tool for how far the company is carrying our corporate transformation and empowering women's economic. It also have a capacity building for our companies in realizing corporate transformation and women economic empowerment. That's why we support for training and business assistance for our suppliers, which was started at the first to strengthen the capacity of its suppliers. It's also we have action action campaigns for gender equality in the workspace carried out both in agribusiness companies and supplier. We always rethinking the provision of work support facilities or equipment that can ease the woman work, especially in agribusiness. That's so hard work. We hope this equipment can make it easier to do their work in agriculture. And the last, we continue preparation of documentation on monitoring and measuring result of the partnership transformation and women economic empowerment on a regular basis. That's all our reflection, Chef. Back to you.
Thank you so much. And last, we have Shamsul for his reflections and learnings. Shamsul, are you still with us?
Okay. I'm still, I will try to open my last presentation. Okay, I will make a short. First, I think we are all realized that pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, including systemic risk that been brought by it, so as the need for us to do things in new ways. I don't know what is the new ways, but I think what we are meaning with the new ways is the things that still evolving. Social protections and assistance program provided by governments, such as cash-based assistance for SMEs, for the farmers, for the poor, is good, but not enough. In my understanding about this pandemic COVID is the large-scale social distancing, social restriction that caused by COVID force us to be more focused on local supply chains first, because the social restriction has been disrupting the global supply chain. So the opportunity provided at local level, and the other issues that also brought by COVID-19 pandemic is, I think we need to be more focused on food security issues. In Indonesia, we are facing the situation what we call as the urbanizations, because the small medium enterprise that mostly working in the cities, in the urban area, has been hardly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Then it was forced the workers to be they urbanized back to their village. However, the situation when we are seeing at the time, especially during the last 2 years, when we are facing the pandemic, is we are not prepared. We are not ready to welcoming back our brothers and sisters that coming back from the city to be more productive in rural resources. I agree what has been said by Ms. Anna. She said that agriculture is not badly impacted by COVID-19, but the farmers, I think, is hardly impacted by the COVID. So we are saying the different aspect between sectors and also the actors. And I was inspired by what has been said by Charlene, that we are not only working as a trading activities. We are working on transformations process. However, when we are talking with the local communities, like our small male and female small producer, we have to talk on material, on concrete aspects, where trading is their mostly mainly income, and they need we cannot we also have to see that this is also our needs. In the context of experience of KMM, for example, right now when we are implementing the project phase 2 of Gracia, the project is implemented in the first semester of 2022, where there are two major momentums called Ramadan and Kurban, where for us in KMM become the peak momentum of trading and business activities that generated income for almost around 60% of total annual gross incomes of the PT KMM. So you can see that this is this is what we are learning about this situation. This you know, we have very ambitious target in our desired score outcome, but when we look at the reality, we have to also we have also to consider about these situations. This caused that the challenge, I think, when we are implementing this piloting is how to be equals, proportionate in giving our focus on the business as our main activities and this project as our complementing activities. We also agree that Gracia, the BTP WEE, help KMM to identify the strength and also weaknesses. I think I already explained about this, the strengths and also weaknesses. We have so many weaknesses, but the BTP WEE also give us like more confidence for some activities that used to be seen as a business, normal business as usual, eventually can be appreciated as one of the aspect that has been considered as part of a transformative effort of under BTP WEE. In terms of weakness, KMM began to realize the importance of making internal policies that ensures that community assistance programs is prepared by taking into account the comprehensive gender approach, for example, by applying disaggregated data, conducting gender mapping as a baseline, start to initiate gender responsive and transformative program in the supply chains and also in the enterprise levels. And we believe that concerning that the most of partner suppliers of KMM are coming from men and women small producers who are born by value as a result of continuous transformative assistance works from the past, not only transactional. KMM sees that BTP WEE as enabling factor to increase empowerment for men and women small producers, which will have impact on increasing the welfare of partners in supply chains, in terms of sustainability on supplies, better quality of product, fit with market demand, fit with contribute to environmental sustainability, which will certainly have an impact on increasing institutional capacity, financial capabilities, and also business sustainability for the KMM itself. I think that's all learning and insight from our side. Seth, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Shamsul, and all our panelists. So many learnings and reflections, and we thank you for taking the time for, you know, really reflecting and about your journey. I know you guys were the guinea pigs or the pilots, you know, so it must have been very challenging. Okay, so we have a few minutes left for our open forum. And I would actually like to pick up a very interesting, although maybe a little bit hard question from the chat. Okay, so allow me to read this question, and I invite any one of you who would like to respond. So the question is coming from one of our participants here in the Zoom room, Carol. Her question is, how did the women's economic empowerment impact back on the pursuit of personal goals and relationships with the males and their duties in the home? Okay, we were talking about relationships earlier, right, Charlene? And some of you also talked about, you know, supporting women, harnessing the power of women. So what about this other power of women, which is more in the home and maybe not in the business? How has your experience, I mean, have you observed anything in your pilot experience on how WEE has also impacted relationships and roles and duties in the home? Anybody who would like to try to
Maybe-
answer?
Maybe this is very difficult questions for me, especially from the Betuafa, but allow me to share my considerations about these particular issues. For example, when we are talking about the impact back to women and in context of her relation with male in their families, it is, you know, because most our activities are basically done in rural areas where gender relation has so many barriers. I think not there's so many. Yeah, we have cultural barriers. We have also, for example, religious interpretations in the context of relation men and women and etc. Access and control to productive resources in the rural level that it is not, you know, this is not question that can be easily answered. So my response to this question is I think this is why when we talk about project related to gender, we are not only talking about a focus on women itself, but we should, you know, balance and using this is why the BTP WEE is not only focused on women but men and women small producers as equal partners at local levels. And this is can I say cultural revolutions, because I think this is part of cultural revolutions for most of us. And so I don't know who Carol. So Carol, your question I think can be answered not in the recent time. We need to process and we need to spare some times to get to respond to your question properly based on the real situation in the field. This is my yeah, you can say that this is my reflections to Carol questions on it. Back to you, Seth.
Thank you, Shamsul.
Seth,
Yes, Charlene.
Yeah,
Maybe
everyone has someone to share.
okay, maybe Charlene first, and then I will call on you, sir, next.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
Charlene.
Yeah, very quickly. So with our farmers, like one of my favorite stories is when the woman started working with us. You could see typically with our farmers, the woman does the organic farming and then the man does the conventional farming. And so when the women's business got better through us, you could see the man's area getting smaller, and then he ended up helping the woman, and you know, all of the children are trained in how to work on the farm, and they now have food security all throughout. So I think this is one huge gender transformation. And I also want to add that internally with our group now, it's been implemented in our internal policy to include reproductive care work as part of, you know, your work as an employee of Good Food. So
thank you, Charlene. Pak Sijit, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Chef. Based on our experience, the women still have a domestic duty as a household, and then all the domestic duty they done very well. But as entrepreneur, they always running the business as well as the male do. And I agree with Charlene. Some of male duty have decreased because of the capability of the women in our experience. So I would like to say the women is in ruler is so have a superpower to running their domestic duty in the house and business as enterprise and entrepreneur. This I can say the other words. That's that will I say they have a superpower to do two duty in the same time with a good result, and then it's make their happier as they wish to do. That's all. That's all, Chef. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I also see that Miss Anne and Mr. C have their hands up. I'll call on Miss Anne first.
Yes. Tôi không biết là ở các nước anh chị
Yeah, I
thì
don't know in
tình
your
hình
countries, Indonesia, the Philippines,
tình hình các nước anh chị về
you know,
giới
gender, when we talk about gender, how it is in Vietnam. But in Vietnam, gender equality is a sensitive issue because in rural areas where we work, right? You know, a woman, you know, working in a society, maybe a leader in the community, but at home still a wife, and a wife has a lower position compared with the husband. Yeah, so in our place where we work, the women, they normally they still have to get up earlier before men. They have to do more work, cutting the leaf, harvesting the leaf. Of course, the leaf is a lighter work, so they will do it. Women will do it. But when we putting the carry the big sack of leaf from the forest to the collection point, that's the job of the women. Sorry, that's the job of men because it's heavier, right? So they have a kind of collaboration between men and women. So the women, they still have to do all of the work for women. They cannot, you know, reduce the work. But what is a good change is that the women, the men now, they say, okay, so okay, make sure that the wife have a more energy to be able to harvest more leaf, because they have to get up very early. Yes, like a 5 or 5 a.m. in the morning to harvest the leaf, to avoid the big sun, the strong sunlight at 10 a.m. But gender equality there is still very limited because the husband there still say that no, I am the pillar in the family, I am still the master in the family, so I still have to be the decision maker. Yes, that's the reality.
And finally, Mr. C would also like to share, or your colleague.
Chị sẽ nhường lời cho hai
Sorry,
hộ nông dân.
instead of me talking, but my community partners will talk. Yes, so 2 people here, 1 man and 1 woman, will talk to you. They will talk some points. Is that okay? Yes.
Em giới thiệu cho em cho.
Yes. So nice to meet you all. I'm Hamong. I'm Hamong woman. I'm Sapa. I am in Sapa. My full name is Hassan Hasali, and 2001, 2002. In my culture, the men is more important than women. Their voice is more valued than women's voice. But from 2015, 2021, there has been a big change in our community in terms of the powers of women. So now it's equal. Now I can see, I think it should be equal, but we cannot say who is more important, men or women.
Con trai sẽ cho bình đẳng một chút xíu. Bây giờ là đối với mấy cái kinh tế là gia đình hay là đi.
She's trying to say it in Vietnamese, you know, because she's Hmong ethnic minority women. So maybe her Vietnamese is very limited. She's trying to speak. Yeah, sometimes it's difficult to understand. So in the past, you know, women's voice has no values, had no values. Everything has to come from men. Every decision has to come from men. But now in my community, I can see that even at work, or you know, at home, or in child education, I think there is more equality now. But it's not 100%. Let's say it's not 100% gender equality. That's from my personal observation. Thank you. Maybe, yeah, my yeah, Mr. Zing, yeah, so we'll talk. Okay, hello. Today I am very happy to be invited by Mr. C to this event.
Để chia sẻ những kinh nghiệm. Thì qua đó thì tôi cũng xin giới thiệu. Đây là tôi là.
So I would like to introduce my name. I'm from a Hmong ethnic group in Lào Cai, in Sapa town, Lào Cai province, Vietnam.
Thì hôm nay rất là vui mừng.
So I am very happy. So I would like to talk a little bit about the artichoke. So from 2012 up to now.
Xin giới thiệu một tí. Vợ trong gia đình thì có.
So in my family, there are 4 people. I have 2 children, 1 daughter and 1 son. But me and my wife are the main labor force in my family, and we have 200 square meters for cultivation. And during our production,
cung cấp cho công ty Shafako.
We have sold our products to Shafako Sapa, and but in my family, my wife
con trai thì nó
has more important roles. So in the past, if I remember it correctly, in my community, men were the decision maker in the family, but now women can make decision as well for the economic development in the family. But I remember that from 2020 up to now, it has changed.
Trong thời gian trồng dược liệu cùng anh Sĩ cùng với giám đốc chỗ Shafako đến đây là kinh tế của chúng em là cũng.
Yeah. So since we have supply our materials to the Shafako Sapa, our livelihood has improved.
Thấy gia đình nó cũng khá giả đi.
Yeah, so our economy has been better. Not only our family, but many other families in our village has improved their economy thanks to the artichoke cultivation.
Trong gia đình cũng thay đổi nhiều và vợ chồng nó cũng có nhiều cái chuyển biến.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy that Mr. C has shared the virtual floor with members of his partner community, and to hear you share with so much confidence and pride, it's very heartwarming. So thank you very much for your sharing. I think one of the messages we heard is that women have superpowers, but in the chat, I'm also seeing that people saying men also have superpowers to share in the domestic care work at home, right? Okay, so I know we have a lot more questions, but unfortunately, we've come to the end of our open forum and our learning exchange. Before we end, I'd like to announce that ISEA is looking for more SEs, SMEs, and corporate agribusinesses to journey with in the remaining months of the Gracie program until July 2023. So if you are interested or know of other enterprises who are interested, please get in touch with any of the ISEA staff. Thank you to all our panelists and to everyone who tuned in. Once again, this has been the We Live Food platform, BTP WEE and AVCs Learning Exchange for practitioners and enablers, organized by the Institute of Social Enterprises in Asia, or ISEA, in partnership with Venus Wadaya Foundation, Dompet Duafa Philanthropy, and the Center for Social Initiatives Promotion, and with support from Oxfam and the Embassy in Sweden in Bangkok. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day or evening ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Can I just